Hi, this is Dr. Tiffany Jackson, naturopathic doctor at Natural Medicine Now University. Thank you for joining this webinar, Easy Breezy Recipes for Healthy Living. I've invited a special guest, certified holistic health coach Carolyn Burson, to help show you some quick, easy, and economical healthy recipes. In this webinar, you will learn easy recipes to prepare for your busy week and your on-the-go schedule, such as a fabulous crustless quiche, mason jar oatmeal, homemade hummus and nut butters, sweet potato soup, and almond butter nut bars. Whether you are a new cook or a seasoned chef, this collection of quick and easy recipes is a great resource for pulling together healthy, nutrient-dense snacks and meals in record time. So let's get started. All right, so I want to start off teaching you how to make a really easy, simple breakfast called the mason jar oatmeal. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take all these ingredients that you see here, I'm going to show you shortly, and put them into a mason jar, and literally all you have to do is put it in your fridge, and then you shake it up in the morning and grab your spoon and you have breakfast. It's high in protein, you're getting lots of the healthy fats and nutrients from all of the fruits and the vegetables. So Carolyn's going to start chopping. So I love mason jars. If you haven't noticed, I use them for the snacks. I like to make salads, which you'll learn later, and put them in the mason jars. You can make smoothies, put them in mason jars, but what we're going to do is put our oatmeal breakfast in here. So Sunday or the day, whatever day you choose to do all your prep work, you're going to fill up the mason jars with nut milks. So I love nut milks. I like to get a lot of my patients off of dairy. Dairy tends to be pro-inflammatory. A lot of people have dairy sensitivities. So if you can see up here at the front, there's lots of different kinds of nut milks that you can use. You can use hazelnut milk, there's oat milk, there's hemp milk, there's coconut milk, there's rice milk. There's a big variety along with almond milk. So I like people to do different nut milks in rotation. Don't just do the same oatmeal over and over. Patients like to do that. They're creatures of habit. They eat the same smoothie over and over again, same breakfast. This is the way that you're going to get more variety into your morning breakfast. So Carolyn, go ahead and hand me an oat milk and almond milk, and we'll also use a hemp milk, just so you can see the difference. So here we are, we have all different types of nut milks. Now I am eyeing it right here. It's about 3/4 of a cup. So you use 3/4 of a cup of your liquid. You could even use water if you wanted to. So I do have measuring spoons here. I'm all about just eyeing it. So
making it easy.
It's easy if you don't make more of a mess with all the different utensils. So, you know, and then for my husband, I would double this. So, you know, if there's some men out there, you need to make it to whatever your taste is. It's kind of a 2-to-1 ratio when you're mixing the liquid to the oats and your fruit and your nuts and seeds. So you'll just have to play around with the consistency that you like. I like mine to be really thick. Some people like it to be a little bit watery. So it's up to you. So Carolyn, why don't you go ahead and put a little bit of fruit. We'll do some bananas and strawberries and blueberries there. And then I'm gonna get the oatmeal, which is right here, and we'll go ahead and scoop. So I usually use about 1/2 cup of oatmeal when I start. So
now, how much fruit would you tell people to put in these so we don't do too much fruit?
About 1/4 of a cup.
That's
I don't
what I was thinking.
like a lot of fruit because it's too much fructose.
Which is just like a small handful, like this would be about a 1/4 of a cup.
handful is perfect. Yeah, people do overeat fruit. Fruit is fructose, and that can, you know, it's sugar. So our body's not designed to eat tons of sugar all the time. It's this carbohydrate. So
even fruit. So keep an eye on your serving size.
It tastes good, but we just need a little bit. I'm really going for more protein, good healthy fats, because that's what's going to keep you fuller longer. There's nothing worse than eating breakfast and being hungry 45 minutes later. So these are designed to really fill you up and get you all those core nutrients that you need.
Now, are these steel cut oats or old fashioned rolled oats?
These are your steel cuts. You can use old fashioned, you can mix and match.
We have some old fashioned if people want to see that.
Yeah, put that in.
Old fashioned look like little flakes, and the steel cut are more rounded. So there's a little bit different texture in the morning depending on which you prefer.
Yeah, and you can mix them. Sometimes I'll do half and half.
Yeah.
So after you get your base of your oats and then you have some fruit, I like to start adding a little bit of extra fiber. You can use some chia seeds or flax seeds. So I'm gonna start here just with chia seeds, and my rule is about 2 teaspoons when you're adding chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds. Here you go. I'll add some flax seeds. So that was chia seeds that just went into the banana. Here are some flax seeds. Now these are the whole flax seeds. You can use whole flax seeds, you can use ground flax seeds. The whole flax seeds are gonna absorb the milk, and so they'll thicken up, so they're not gonna be hard in the morning when you try to eat them. And then here's some hemp seeds.
They call that flaxseed meal a lot of times in the grocery store when you're shopping, so if you didn't know what that was, that's ground up flaxseed.
There we go. So there's our 2 teaspoons of that. And now we get to just mix and match different toppings, just like we did our snacks. So we can start with some pine nuts and add a teaspoon of that, or pumpkin seeds. You know, this is where you just have fun with it. You start mixing and matching. I love the cacao nibs. That gives it that chocolate flavor. Sometimes I'll do an extra scoop there. This is where the slivered almonds come in really handy when they're going in your mason jar. You know, you just mix and match and make different blends.
Use what you have.
Yeah, whatever you're running out of, whatever's going bad, mix it all in there. And then, you know, depending on your taste palette, some people want a little bit more sweetener than others. So I love stevia. Stevia is a natural sweetener, does not spike your blood sugar levels. It's about 300 times sweeter than sugar. It comes from an herb. So this is really safe to use. You just want to make sure the label says pure stevia on the back and it's not mixed with anything else. My rule is about 5 drops. That usually tends to sweeten it pretty well. You could also use a little bit of honey, organic honey, local honey if you can get it. Just a teaspoon. You don't need a lot. Again, we're not trying to make this a dessert. It doesn't need to be super sweet. This is just to get a little carbohydrate in there, make it sweet enough so you can eat it and get all the other nutrients. And then here's some organic maple syrup, just 1 teaspoon, just a little bit. And then, you know, this is where you get more creative. I love cinnamon. Cinnamon gives it a great taste. So, you know, if it has a little shaker bottle at the top, you can just give it a couple shakes, or I use about a half a teaspoon. You don't want to overdo it on the cinnamon. This is where you could use some coconut flakes.
I've tried nutmeg too. Nutmeg's very good.
Oh, I bet nutmeg's wonderful. Sometimes in the fall, I'll use pumpkin.
Pumpkin spice?
Yeah,
That's
you
very
can get
good.
really creative. And then one last step, if you want, you can add in some Greek yogurt. Okay. So can you see how now this is full of protein?
It is a full meal.
In fact, this is a meal, and I'm not kidding you. It will keep you full for a good 2 to 3 hours. So I use about 1/4 cup. You can use more or less, depending on, you know, your needs. This is some Greek yogurt, and then I'm actually going to use. This is a whole plain organic Whole Foods 365 yogurt that I like. So we can use that, or kefir is another thing that we like to mix into these. So the great thing is that they will actually last in your fridge for about 3 days. So I usually make 3 to 4 at a time. Then you're gonna put the tops on. One thing about the tops, I love these little plastic tops. They're really convenient and they're not as hard to clean as the aluminum tops are. So they sell these on Amazon. They sell them at Walmart and big box stores like that. But
Just
now,
be sure and hand wash them.
Yeah. Put them in your mason jar and you just shake it up. So now we've mixed it. They're shaken, and then you just literally line them up in the refrigerator, and they're gonna sit overnight. And then all of those nuts and seeds, it's all gonna, you know, absorb the liquid. So it's gonna be thicker, and you will have a nice grab and go healthy meal for the morning. I preferably like to eat it on the way to work. So whatever works for you, it's an easy grab and go. You can do it for lunch, or, you know, before bed. If you're hungry, it's something that's there, that's getting you fuel for your body, fuel for your cells, and adequate nutrition.
That's great.
All right, Carolyn, so now we're gonna make a crustless quiche, all right? And this is something that you can do when you get home from the grocery store. You go right to the oven, get the oven preheating to 375 while you're unpacking your groceries, while you're kind of start chopping and dicing everything up. We're gonna make a quiche here in the quiche pan. You can also do it in the mini muffin tin pans or the big muffin tin pans. I personally recommend just doing it in the pie dish. It's way less messy, and then you can just kind of cut your portion. the next day. So we're gonna go ahead and scramble about 8 to 10 eggs, which Carolyn has already done. And then we're going to just take the pie dish and start adding whatever vegetables. So I love tomatoes and onions and spinach and mushrooms. What do you like to put in your crustless quiche?
All different colors of peppers, zucchini, squash. I put broccoli in there. You know, it's great. Just make the rainbow of all the vegetables that you got from the grocery store, and actually anything. Again, open your refrigerator and easily see what you have, and that's what goes in the quiche.
Yeah, I've actually had leftover stir fry and just made a quiche out of it.
Do you want more than that?
Yeah, we can put, load it up. I'm actually gonna put, we had some leftover cheese in the fridge, so I'm gonna sprinkle some cheese into this quiche. We made one earlier and it had mushrooms in it. I'm gonna add a little spinach here. You can chop it up, or, you know, since this is easy breezy recipes, we're not even gonna chop. We're just gonna put the spinach right in there.
And do you do the same thing in the muffin tin? Just put a few?
You know, when I do the muffin tins, I'll chop it up smaller because obviously the big spinach leaves won't really fit.
Right.
They'll stick out and they'll burn. So we can go ahead and chop up a little bit of the spinach just so we can show how to put it in the muffin tin. So after you've whisked your eggs, you're just gonna pour it directly into the pie dish and pour it all over all of your delicious vegetables. Just enough to where you can cover them. So the key here is to make sure that you do get egg to completely cover any leafy greens, any mushrooms. It will burn the top if you don't. So then you're just gonna get it in there, you're gonna mix around, and of course we already greased up the pie dish here with some coconut oil. So you can use, you know, pure butter, coconut oil, anything. But see how all the egg has covered there? And then you literally pop it into the oven, 375 for approximately 20 minutes. Every oven's a little bit different. You want it to be brown on top. I always pull it out of the oven and we'll jiggle just a little bit to see if the middle jiggles, the egg hasn't finished cooking. So obviously you need to put it back in for a couple more minutes. And then you just use your salt and pepper and you can spice it up however you want. And then in the morning, you can just slice it. I throw it in the toaster. Again, we're not gonna use microwaves. Please do not take all these good organic ingredients that we've just bought and prepared and radiate your food. We don't wanna do that. Get a conventional toaster oven, heat it up slowly. It takes about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. You can just heat it in the morning, then throw it in a Tupperware bowl. And then, or you cut it, and if you have kids, my daughter, we call it eggy pizza. So in the morning, you can have a little eggy pizza. It looks like a pizza slice, but it's your crustless quiche. Do you have any other tips?
I think it's great to make this in the muffin pans for your family too, because they're so easy just to grab on the go, and you can have the brownie size that are bigger or the smaller ones. Again, it's kind of the preference of your family, what they like better, but it's a lot of fun to do them in the muffin pan as well.
And it's good too for parties. I mean, these are great. As you can see, there's our final product. I made one in the quiche dish. We've also made them in the big muffin tins, and then we have the mini muffins as well. They're great for any kind of party as hors d'oeuvres. I mean, it's great protein. Here again, we're eating real food that fuels the body.
A great snack for all of those veggies that you cut up after going to the grocery store is hummus. And so many times we just grab hummus from the grocery store, but once again, read the label. There are some good ones and there's some not so good ones. But if you make it at home, you know what's in there. You're starting with chickpeas, which they call garbanzo beans. And there's a couple of different options on how to buy those. The healthiest option would be to buy them in the bag, soak them overnight, and then use those for your hummus. If you do buy them in a can, be sure that you pick a can that is BPA free. And at Whole Foods, we actually saw garbanzo beans that are packaged in a paper box. So that's another healthy option. So we start with about 3 cups. This recipe is for a very plain hummus, but you can make it, add flavors to it depending on what you have in your refrigerator. If you have extra roasted red pepper or extra garlic, or maybe you want to throw tomatoes and onions in there, you can be creative with these recipes. So we're going to start with 3 cups of chickpeas. We're going to add the juice of 1 lemon, which is right here, and I have a juicer. Now your other option with lemon juice is you could use doTERRA lemon essential oil.
Yes, so this is great to cook with.
Great to cook with. So I think we'll do a combo today.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll juice half the lemon, and then you can put in about 2 drops, I think.
I did 3.
3, that's fine.
I like
it
it
extra lemony. Then we're gonna add our garlic cloves. Now, usually I would go ahead and smash my own garlic cloves, but I'm going to cheat to make this even a faster recipe today. These are already pre-minced, so about 3 cloves worth of garlic, and some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. And we're going to top it off with tahini. If you're not familiar with tahini, tahinis are made from sesame seeds. And they really add great flavor to your hummus and give it good texture. The recipe calls for 1 tablespoon. I usually like to add a little bit more than that. Again, that's for your taste. And that is it. You can add some sea salt. And you can use a blender or you can use a food processor, and just hit start and we're going to blend away. So we've blended our hummus a couple of minutes, and if you like it thicker or thinner, you can let it go as long as you would like. Then we take it out and put it in a nice serving dish, which we've served it with some vegetables. You can also drizzle some olive oil at the end to make it even taste better, and maybe sprinkle some herbs on the top. And you will impress all of your guests, and you didn't get it out of a package from the store. One of the easiest things to make at home is your own nut butters. You can make your own peanut butter, make your own almond butter. Be creative. Cashew butter, hazelnut butter, it's delicious and you can make it at home. Be careful when you go to the grocery store and be sure and read the labels of any nut butters that you're currently buying. You might find that there are some things on those labels that you can't pronounce. Kind of scary. So personally, I think for a healthy option, we should be making our own nut butter. And today, I'm going to show you a pecan almond nut butter, which kind of incorporates some more spices than a plain nut butter. And I roasted these nuts. If you choose to roast the nuts first, it gives them a little more deeper flavor, but you don't have to. You can use them just raw in a nut butter. You can soak them overnight to make them easier to grind in a nut butter, or you can roast them. If you roast them, it's about 8 minutes at about 350. Yeah. So this starts with pecans and almonds that were roasted. Then we just do a tablespoon of honey, and this honey came from a local farmer's market. Get that in there. Do about a half a teaspoon of vanilla, if you want to do that for me, Tiffany. That would be great. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon, so I kind of just eyeball it there. I do put a little bit of salt, and I use Celtic sea salt for this, just a pinch. And then we're going to need a tablespoon of coconut oil. I'm going to go back to this. Put a tablespoon of coconut oil in there. And that is it. Put the top on. We're going to hit spin, and it'll be ready in just a second. After you've blended for about 5 minutes, depending on your blender or your food processor, it'll get really thick and you will actually hear that it's finished. And then you can scoop it up and put it into your serving tray. We like to say apples are just great with any nut butter. What a great healthy snack for your family. And celery, and we have crackers here. And Tiffany's going to show you a handy apple corer that makes it so easy and fun for your family to get to that apple quicker.
So a lot of people don't know that there is such thing called an apple corer. So I just wanted to show you real quick. You just take the apple and you put it right around the core at the top, and then you just press down, and then voila, you actually have a cored apple for your kids, for you just to snack on if you're making your nut butter. Sometimes you do need to kind of, get a little bit more of the core out, or you can make it a thinner slice. So it's just another easy, simple way to make a healthy snack.
Hi, now we're going to make almond butter nut bars. And these are delicious using only nuts and seeds, honey, and almond butter. And you will have these things on hand in your house. And you might be surprised if you were to read the labels on some of the breakfast bars that you buy at the grocery store. They're hiding preservatives and sweeteners and things that you don't need. So this is a healthier, easy, fun option for your family. So Tiffany, if you start us, everything's already measured. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of rolled oats.
Alrighty.
And then a 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal, which is right there. Just ground up the flax, 1/4 cup of that. Some chia seeds.
There you go.
And then sunflower seeds. And after our sesame seeds, I put in pumpkin seeds.
There.
And then we're going to add cashews, almonds. And to this batch, I'm going to add cacao nibs or chips. That's optional, of course, if you like chocolate. The first batch, I did not add them. So it's kind of whatever you have in the kitchen, again. All of these ingredients you can switch out. If you have favorites that you'd like to double the part for those, that's fine. Leave a few out, that's fine. It's still going to turn out well. Then we add a little less than 1/2 cup of honey. Again, I don't want it to be too sweet and not too much honey, so play around with this and you'll find what works for you. And then 1 cup of almond butter. And that is it. Then we just stir. You want to take a crack at stirring that for me, Tiffany?
Sure, and actually I'm gonna just turn this up for a second. Look how delicious that looks all together. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this looks like a very delicious, yummy, healthy dessert.
I use a long wooden spoon so you can really get the almond butter mixed in well. And so once that's mixed together, what we're going to do is we're going to dump it into a Pyrex dish that's lined with parchment paper. And that is very important. I'll take over here if you want to show them the parchment paper.
Yes, here is the parchment paper, and once it's done, you can easily lift it out.
That's exactly right.
I'll just go ahead and let you show them how you cut.
Okay. So once it's mixed thoroughly, you pour it into the parchment paper and you put it in the freezer. Only takes about an hour, so if you're in a hurry, you can have them in about an hour, or you can make them and then these will stay in your freezer for as long as you want to have them. So it was just easy to lift it out of the Pyrex dish with the parchment paper, and then depending on the size you want, you can cut them in any size that you want. And wrap them up in some saran wrap, store them in the freezer, and then they're perfect to go breakfast bar. You made yourself, you know what's in it, and it'll be healthy for your family.
It looks delicious.
You want to try it?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it. Oh, yum. It's so good. You gotta make...
And so easy.
Mm-hmm.
So Tiffany, one of my favorite things to do in the Vitamix is to make soup. All year long, I take a look what I have maybe left over in the freezer or produce in the refrigerator, throw it in the Vitamix, and it makes delicious soup. And the thing about the Vitamix is, if you blend it for about 6 minutes or on the hot soup setting, it makes it hot, you can pour it straight from the Vitamix in the bowl, and dinner's done in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to show you a sweet potato soup. I baked a sweet potato, I leave the skin on. I had sauteed about 1/4 of an onion in some extra virgin olive oil, and so that goes in next. We have 1/2 of an apple with the skin, 1 carrot, which I just broke in half. I put some vegetable bouillon in here. This is equal to about 1 veggie cube. And then 1.5 cups of water. I have mine set to hot soup. If you have another kind of Vitamix, you would start at a low number, then work to high, and it runs about 6 minutes. It will heat it. You'll feel the heat on the outside of the container, and it'll be ready to eat and go. Here we go. Okay, so we're good to go. Just take off the top. You can see the steam rising from there. Pour it in the bowl. And it is just yummy for your family. They will love it, and so good for you.
Thank you for joining this webinar. I hope you now feel confident in the kitchen to start preparing easy, breezy, healthy recipes. For more of my favorite recipes, visit naturalmedicinenow.com. So take action and prevent disease and get cooking. This is Dr. Tiffany Jackson wishing you a happy and healthy day.